What if I told you that what swallowed Jonah wasn't a whale? And we all know that Jesus was dead in the tomb and rose after the third day, but why did it take over 3 days? What if I told you that at his death, Jesus went down to Sheol just like Jonah did, but he carried out a special mission while he was down there? In our last video, we read the verse of the book of Jonah chapter 2 and revealed that what most believe to have traditionally happened to Jonah isn't exactly what the Bible says. For starters, the fish the Bible mentions was not a whale. Storms, like the one mentioned in the book, are too dangerous to almost all sea life, which is why whales tend to swim away from it to calmer waters. And although someone could make the argument that God could easily command a whale to break away from its natural instinct, the rest of the facts wouldn't add up. Can a human being fit through a whale's throat? Fortunately, the answer to that is no. A whale's mouth is certainly big enough, but its throat is the size of a human fist. But understanding that leaves us with more questions than answers. If it wasn't a whale, what could have been fearless and large enough to have swallowed Jonah's lifeless body whole? One answer could be, though a creepy one, is that we have only explored about 20% of the entire ocean, which leaves 80% of the ocean as uncharted waters. That means that all the sea life that we know of are all from 20% we have explored. That's a whole lot of ocean we don't know anything about, not to mention what's actually down there. Interestingly enough, a Jewish tradition regarding Jonah suggests that he was actually swallowed by the Leviathan, an enormous sea monster that is mentioned both in the book of Job, chapter 41, and Isaiah, chapter 27. I'm sure that someone is tempted to type away in the comment section that the Bible refers to the Leviathan in later passages as a metaphor, and though that is true, we just can't ignore these other verses, especially this one, during creation, in the book of Genesis. The original Hebrew word used for great monster is tanin, which means serpent, dragon, or dinosaur. Now, if that isn't an eye-opener, there is a lot more I can say about this topic, but I think that this topic deserves its own dedicated video. So stay tuned for that. Give us a like if you're enjoying the content or learned something new, and subscribe so that you won't miss out on the future video about the biblical Leviathan and dinosaurs. For now, let's connect a few more interesting dots between Jonah and Jesus. Jonah initially rebelled against the will of God. He did not want to warn the people of Nineveh and Assyria to repent. So he set off for Joppa and was headed for Tarshish. Not only was this in the complete opposite direction of Nineveh, but modern-day Tarshish would be a port in Spain. The scriptures doesn't exactly state how far he got out before the Lord struck the ship, but the all-knowing sovereign God commanded the sea creature to swallow Jonah's body. Why? Because he needed to preserve it. God is a being that determines the beginning from the end, not the other way around. He knew of Jonah's rebellion and used it to fulfill his purpose both in the present time and the future. If a body is left floating in the water for as little as a day, it will begin to decompose. So preserving the body in the stomach of a large sea creature would prevent this. This is alluded to by how they handled the body of Jesus after his crucifixion. The rich man who asked for Jesus' body was also one of his close followers who knew of the prediction of his death and resurrection. The Jewish people do not embalm the body after death because it would prevent the body from naturally decomposing. But Jesus was embalmed with the anticipation that he might rise once again. The same way Jesus was embalmed to prevent his body from decomposing after death is in the same likeness that God also had a sea creature swallow Jonah to preserve his body and fulfill their purpose after rising once again. Now, 3 days in hell, what was Christ doing? 1 Peter chapter 3 verse 19 says, "In which he also went and made proclamation to the spirits in prison." Many believe that these are the spirits of people who are down in hell. The only problem is, Ecclesiastes chapter 12 verse 7 states that your spirit returns to God who gave it after death. The only thing left of people in Sheol are their souls. So what spirits did Jesus go down to make proclamations to? What are their identities? Stay tuned for the next video. You're not going to want to miss it. If you haven't already, check out our other videos that build a deeper foundation for what we'll speak about next. See you next time.